everyone, my name is Mr. Francy and welcome back to Mr. Francy Reads, the channel where we are always sparkling. A book just fell in my bookshelf. So, the channel where we are always sparkling our positive energy all throughout the world and being as transparent as we possibly can. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. Today I'm going to be going through I was going to say TBR there. I don't know what I'm doing today. I am going to be doing my December 2022 monthly wrap. Now, this took a lot longer than I originally planned for it to. Usually, I'm quite good at getting my monthly wrap up as soon as I possibly can, be it on the 1st or the 2nd of that following month. But well, if you haven't been following me, I went through a bit of an incident recently watch my last video. I go into a 10-minute explanation right from the off. So, but yeah, anyway, that's why we were delayed. And so for those of you who have watched my most recent video, my most recent one. I'm confusing myself here. Those of you who have seen my most recent video, my appointment was cancelled today. So yeah, that's unfortunate. They've pushed it forward or back or however you say it to this coming weekend. Not where we're at right now, but the next one coming up. Why is everything so hard to say today? I don't know. But anyway, that just means that I need to do audio videos in the interim, and I don't want to wait any longer to do a monthly wrap. I know some people get their monthly wraps out on like the 15th or 16th of the month, and I hold nothing against anyone who does that. It's just not me. I feel way too far behind as it is doing it now, so I just want to do it now and kind of get it over and done with. Not to say that I don't enjoy my monthly wraps. In fact, if you would like to join me, I am trying to start a campaign. Now, I am not on Twitter, but I'm going to use the terminology hashtag, okay? Hashtag save the TBRs and monthly wraps, okay? We need to save them because they're becoming a dying breed on YouTube, and it's just not something that Mr. Francy likes because, quite frankly, both monthly wraps and TBRs are my home shopping network. You'll, I'm sure, have your own home shopping networks, whether you watch them or not. You have them in your countries and all that, and I can't think of the US one that's off the top of my head, but what's it, QVC? Laurie Grenier. I have never seen QVC before, but I've seen Shark Tank. I love Shark Tank. Do you love Shark Tank? Let me know below. That was random, but hey, again, we're transparent here. Anyway, my home shopping network is monthly wraps and TBRs. It is a great way for me to see new books, and I will talk more about monthly TBRs in an upcoming video because I have some things to say, and you all seem to like these discussion type videos, which is wonderful. Alright, let's jump right in and not waste any more time because we have a lot to talk about in this monthly wrap. Alright, we're going to start, as I always do, by putting the stats up on the screen for all the books that I read in December of 2022. Okay, so for the month of December 2022, I read a total of 9 books comprising of 3 cozy mysteries, 5 romances, and 1 Christian fiction. To my age groups, I read 2 YA and 7 adult books, no middle grades. That will be made up for in January. To my lengths, I read 8 half tomes and 1 novella, totaling 2,779 pages. And I think that's mainly because all the books that I read were shorter books, but all good. To my star ratings, I've decided to incorporate the 0.5 star rating in my stats because, honestly, I have a lot of 4 and 4.5 star books, so I'm going to differentiate from now on. So I had 5 stars, 3 4.5 stars, and 1 4-star read. So it was a really solid month for me, which is great, with the exception of some DNFs, which I'm going to get into right now. Okay, So let's jump in and discuss DNFing. For those of you who don't know, totally fine. DNF stands for did not finish. You pick up a book and for whatever reason, you don't want to read it anymore. So you put it back down and don't plan to pick it back up again. I had 3 books I DNF'd in the month of December and was fortunate enough to replace them with a great reread, which we'll get into soon. But the first book that I DNF'd in the month of December 2022 was this book, Have Yourself a Merry Little Witness. This book is by Dakota Cassidy, and it is the second book in the Marshmallow Hollow series. Okay, I was introduced to the Marshmallow Hollow series in December of 2021. It's always tough for me to remember what year technically we're in the first month of that year, but anyway, yeah, 2021. And I enjoyed book 1. I had a lot of fun with it. However, when I picked up book number 2, planning to read books 2 and 3 in December of 2022, I was listening to the audiobook because I exclusively listen to audiobooks these days. I have a lot of crafting projects that I do at the same time, so it just makes things easier for me to multitask. And the audiobook was not good. I mean, there's a fine line, isn't there, between being transparent and not wanting to be too negative to someone. But, okay, if you're not someone who likes when someone gets a little too negative, just skip forward 10 seconds. I'll say this very quickly. Okay. I had an issue with the narrator and their vocal style choice. It's a cozy mystery series, and instead of it being a very calm tone, which it normally is at the beginning of a cozy mystery, instead, this narrator more came across as hoot, 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 and honestly, it just didn't work for me. Like, I think the line was something like, the first line was something like, can you please move the tree in this direction because it doesn't look so good there. And instead it came across as, can you please move the tree over here so that it look at there because it doesn't look good over there. Wait, hang on, what? And in the first book it wasn't anything like that. So it threw me off, and I realised it was the same narrator for book number 3. So I'll save time here and say I DNF'd both books 2 and 3, and I won't be going to back to the Marshmallow Hollow series. Nothing at all against Dakota Cassidy. It was purely the audio narrator just didn't work for me. Speaking of audio narration, the third and final book that I DNF'd in the month of December 2022 was this book, Miracle on 34th Street. Okay. This is an adult classic Christmas tale. I love the film, the Mara Wilson version, so much. I watch it every year, except last year. I didn't watch it in December. I ran out of time. I didn't watch Miracle on 34th Street or The Muppets Christmas Carol, which is so wrong for me because I watch them every year. But anyway, it is what it is, and I'll watch it this year. But yeah, this, again, was an issue with the audiobook. I tracked down samples of many different editions of the audiobooks, and just none of them worked for me. They were really, really old audiobooks that either had music that seemed to be playing the whole time the narrator was talking, or like that really old staticky crackling effect that goes on in the background, and I just know that wouldn't work for me. That would drive me absolutely bonkers. So I just didn't have the opportunity to get into the book because none of the audiobooks were working for what works for me. So I can't say much about the book because I didn't even really get started. But I love the film, especially Mara Wilson version, and I highly recommend it. Alright, let's keep going because we're running out of time. The first book that I officially read in the month of December 2022 was this book, The Letter by Richard Paul Evans. This is book number 3 in the Christmas Box series, and I gave this book 4.5 stars. So I need to explain what book 1 is about because anything else really gives away too many spoilers. Book number 1 is called The Christmas Box in this series, and it follows a husband, a wife, and their daughter who end up moving into a massive mansion with this elderly woman who needs a caretaker because her husband has recently passed away. And while they are there, the father/husband, the guy, the protagonist, he learns a massive, massive lesson that comes within the form of a Christmas box. I love the Christmas Box movie. I watched it many, many times before I even knew that it was a book, let alone that it was narrated by the guy who plays the protagonist in the films, Richard Thomas, which had me so happy. So book 2 delves back in. So it's interesting the way that this is formulated. So I want to say it so you all understand. Book 3 is set in present day. Sorry, book 1 is set in present day. Book 2 goes all the way back into the past, where we meet the elderly widow for the first time. She's of a certain age, and she meets her husband, the guy who has died, in book 2. And then in book 3, we pick up where we left off in book 2. So book 3 is kind of like the future, and then we go back way into the past in book 2, and then we continue on from where we left off in that past, from book 2 in book 3. I really enjoyed it. I love Mary, so much. She's the elderly widow. Her husband is the single most compassionate man that I have ever read about that was written in a book that long ago. So if you're looking for someone extremely compassionate, this is the series for you. It was wonderful. 4.5 stars for book number 3. Okay, the next book that I read replaced Have Yourself a Merry Little Witness, and that was a reread for me of the Christmas Tree Farm series, book number 1 being 12 Sleighs of Christmas. This is by, this is by Julie Ann Lindsay, but on the book cover it says Jacqueline Frost because she writes under that pen name. I read this series for the first time in December of 2021, and it is the only series of cozies that I own in hardcover because that's how much I love this series, and book 4 is coming out this year and I cannot wait. I am so happy. I just love this so much. I am reading the Cider Shop mystery series by Julianne Lindsay this year. I just, what she has done for me, what she did for me last year and this year with this series is just so much. I am someone who loves Christmas to the umpteenth degree, and I've been looking for a book that matches how much Christmas I want in a book, and generally the books that I've read recently that are Christmas themed, Christmas is kind of in the background and that's it. Not in this series. It is absolutely at the forefront. We follow a woman whose name I think is Holly. I don't have the book on me right at this second, but I think her name is Holly. She lives in Mistletoe, Maine, where every Christmas they have this tradition called the Reindeer Games, where they're always playing Christmas games and everything. It is so Christmassy. I love it so much. If you love Christmas, I highly recommend reading this series. It is really cozy. The relationship is fantastic. The cast is so extremely diverse in personality, and it is so Christmassy. I highly recommend it. So, so I gave 12 Days of Christmas 5 stars. The next book that I read was, was The Christmas Spirit by Debbie May Comber. This is an adult romance book, and I gave this book 5 stars. This was fantastic. So, in December of 2021, I picked up 2 Debbie May Comber books. A lot of people on BookTube were talking about Debbie May Comber, and my mother is a fan of her, although she calls her Debbie McComber. Still, she's a massive fan of hers, and so I thought, why not give it a go and see what my mother thinks, and see what I think of books that my mother loves, but also that everyone else seems to love. I read 2 books, last year of hers. One of them I absolutely loved. The other one I did not love. I DNF'd it. So I thought I would just give a go to one book this year, and boy, was it the right book to choose. So I don't remember the names of the characters, but I will say it's dual perspective. We follow these 2 guys. One of them is a priest. The other one is a bartender, and they are the best of friends. They're having a conversation one night at the bartender's work, I think, or it's a diner. I don't remember. Anyway, they're having a conversation somewhere. And they're both kind of complaining about, how things are with their job and not getting enough time to do X, Y, Z. And then it's a situation of, don't complain until you've walked a mile in my shoes. But they take it a step further by saying, okay, let's do this. And as ridiculous as it sounds, the bartender steps into the shoes of the priest, and the priest steps into the shoes of the bartender. It was so good. Oh my gosh, I loved it. It was the right amount of funny and yet realistic and yet hard-hitting and yet heartwarming. It was just perfect. Oh my gosh, I just need to be smarter with my Debbie May Comber picks, because this one and The one I read last year that I loved was Dashing Through the Snow. I love them both so much, so I can't wait to read more Debbie May Comber. I'll probably keep it to December when I read her books, but oh my gosh, yes, an absolute winner. If that premise sounds fun to you, I highly recommend it. The premise sounded amazing to me, and it did not let me down. It was better than I could have imagined. 5 stars. All right. The next book that I picked up, finally, was Dash and Lily's Book of Dares by Rachel Cohen and David Levithan. Okay, this is I think it's a YA romance, I think. It's either a romance or a contemporary, one of the two. Anyway, long story short, in 2021 of December, I had purchased this book. I wanted to listen to it on audiobook. It wasn't available to me. So I unhauled it. I purchased another book this year. It was available on audiobook, so I was able to consume it. Funny story. When I was doing a special unhauling video that is exclusively available on my Discord, it is unlisted, so it's not here on the channel, it's on the Discord. I was actually going through all the books that were in my unhauled area of my home, and going through all of them, and my copy of Dash and Lily's Book of Dares from 2021 was still there. I was like, why did I buy another copy? I already had my one from last year. But anyway, I'm so happy that I got to read this, and I'm so happy that it's a series. I didn't know it was a series, but anyway, we follow these two characters, Dash and Lily. The book opens up, and it's become a show or movie or something on Netflix, so you may have seen it or heard of it anyway. But in case you haven't, I highly recommend the book because I just thought it was fantastic. So it's dual perspective between two teenagers, a male named Dash, a female named Lily. Dash ends up starting us off in the book. He is in a bookstore. He comes across a book that seems out of place. And in that book is a dare of a scavenger hunt type deal to find all these different books that will lead to different messages. Still within the first chapter, so it's not a spoiler. What ends up being revealed without revealing a name is that the person who's writing these dares is a teenage girl who is looking for someone to love. And if this person wants to continue on, then they can pick a book or something, write a comment on a piece of paper, put it into the book and give it to the store owner who's aware of this scavenger hunt love thing that's going on, and they can proceed from there. So Dash ends up doing it. And it was just it was so much better than I thought it would be. I get nervous going into books that are hyped up because I just think maybe the hype is just being, just being blown out of proportion basically. But I loved it so much. I resonated so much with Dash. Dash reminded me a lot of me when I was younger. I was definitely the type of guy who you would find, after school, in high school, instead of going out and partying with my friends, I would be the one that would be at the bookstore looking at all the books or being at home wrapped up in some sort of a novel. He reminds, so if you want to know what young Mr. Francy was like, read this book. Dash is exactly how I was. Dash's sexuality isn't really defined, but I assume Dash is straight and I was gay. But aside from that, how Dash is, his personality, that's exactly how I was when I was younger. So if you want to know, read the book. I highly recommend it. It was so much better than I could have imagined. It seems like it would just be teen boppy-ish, but it's not. It is really, really well done. So high praise to Rachel Cohen and David Levithan for that one. 4.5 stars. So the next book that I read was book number 2 in the Christmas Tree Farm series, Slashing Through the Snow by Jacqueline Frost. I gave this book 5 stars. It was fantastic. Not really going to spend a lot of time on this because anything I say about it would be a spoiler, but I really did enjoy it. It was great. I think I gave it 5 stars or 4 or 5 stars in 2021. 5 stars this year. I love it. I would not be at all surprised if it was another reread for me, this whole series in December of 2023. The next book that I picked up was, oh my gosh. How many of you out there have watched the show Got Talent? Whether it is America's Got Talent, Britain's Got Talent, or my version Australia's Got Talent. You know, how many of you have seen Got Talent? Whether you have or you haven't, you might have seen the commercials. Do you know the golden buzzer? Do you know what the golden buzzer represents? Well, the golden buzzer is an opportunity that every judge on the judging panel is given to give a contestant in their auditioning first round the opportunity to get essentially a fast pass access through to whatever it is, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, the finals, or yeah, I'm thinking of Tyra Banks going, the live show! But anyway, and you know, they press the buzzer and confetti comes out and it's just a really big moment. I'm recalling acts like Darcy Lynn or one of my personal favorites, Laura Breton. Oh my gosh, she can sing! If you haven't looked up 13-year-old Laura Breton's audition on America's Got Talent, you need to do it. This 13-year-old sings like a mature adult opera. It is so good. But anyway, the reason I'm bringing all this up, which it sounds like I'm sidetracking, but trust me, it relates, is because the next book I read was my golden buzzer for 2022. And it was the second last book I read of the year. Can you believe it? Oh my gosh, it just snuck in there. And that is this book, You're a Mean One, Matthew Prince by Timothy Janowski. This book was so good. It had everything. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm so emotional because this book was not originally on my December TBR. And then I was watching someone talk about it. I honestly don't remember who it was, but I was watching someone talk about it somewhere. I think it was Haley, from Haley in Bookland. I love especially watching Haley in December because she posts one video a day for Vlogmas or whatever she calls it. And so it just works out really nicely. Every morning before work, I would watch Haley's latest video. And I've been following Haley for years. She's been around a lot longer than I have, on BookTube. And, I think it was Haley who was talking about this book in one of the videos she did. She did a reading vlog and it just sounded great to me. And oh my gosh, it was better than I could have imagined and continued. It started off as a 5-star read. I'm trying to explain how good this was. It started off as a 5-star read. And then it got better and better and better and better as I went along. How can you get better than a 5-star read? Well, you just smash your way through the ceiling like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I mean, it was so good. So we follow, Matthew Prince. So I wish it was a dual perspective. Unfortunately, it wasn't. But we follow Matthew Prince, who is a big-time, rich, famous celebrity. The reason that he is because he's the product of two famous parents. I forget what his father does, but his mother is a well-known author who released a very famous book series that was turned into a Netflix adaptation, so she's incredibly well-known. So he's kind of famous by proxy. He, works, which I say loosely because he does this voluntarily. He has more than enough money to not need to make money, but he works as an event planner voluntarily. He loves planning events. Oh, by the way, this is an adult male romance. Which is funny because the first chapter in I thought it was young adult, but it's definitely not young adult. It is, okay guys, spice. I don't know, this is incredibly spicy, this book, but it's not just spicy, it's more than that. I'm trying to calm myself down so I can explain this to you, but honestly, if you are okay with reading male romance books, you need to read this one. It is so good. It blew my mind. So yeah. As I've explained, rich guy by proxy because of his parents. He's an event planner. And then we find out in the first page or two that he purchased an island, without his parents knowing. This caused a whole massive issue, or kerfuffle, as we say. And we don't know why it's caused a kerfuffle. We just know it has. And so, the PR representative of the family, who is a word we can't say on BookTube, but you know, it rhymes with the word witch. She suggests to Matthew Prince's mother and father that Matthew go and stay with Matthew's mother's parents, his grandparents on mother's side, because they are very far away, and so hopefully he'll stay out of the tabloids enough, and yeah, it will allow things to smooth over. The problem for Matthew Prince is that his grandparents on his mother's side come from very humble, a poor place, if that makes sense. So they have a very humble living situation is what I'm trying to say. So he arrives there and just everything that he is used to is not there for him. No butler, no nanny, no au pair, nothing like that. And to top it all off, he needs to share a room with this random guy that his grandparents have allowed to live with them because he was given a scholarship to go to the school that his grandfather teaches at, but he needed board and food, like lodgings and food, to be able to go to the school. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to accept the scholarship. So his grandparents allowed him to come and stay with them, which is really beautiful. They have massive hearts. I love it. So anyway, Matthew ends up living with him, and he is really not happy. He wants to leave. He's complaining for the first couple of chapters in the book, and then his grandmother assigns him a single task. There is to be a fundraiser to save their business. I don't remember what the business that they run, but the grandma and grandpa run a business, and they're doing a Christmas fundraiser, and his single task is going to be to work with the guy that he is staying in the same room at, who they don't like each other at all. They hate each other from the moment they meet each other. They are to work together to plan this event and to see it through. So they do. And along the way, it's not a spoiler because it's a romance. Along the way, they fall in love, but so many things happen. I got 3/4 of the way through this book, and I reached out to Timothy Janowski, saying, just bowing down to him, saying, thank you so much for giving me the best male Christmas book I've ever read. It is fantastic. That was 3/4 of the way through. Then it got better in the last quarter. I am smashing the ceiling with this one, and I'm gonna say it got 6 stars from me. It was my golden buzzer. I highly recommend this book. You can hear the emotions in my tone. Okay, the final book that I read was this book, The Christmas Witch by Lindsay Kelk. This is an adult straight romance, and I gave this book 4.5 stars. So this book claims to deal with the Groundhog Day trope where the day repeats over and over and over again. Okay, fans of Christina Lauren, particularly fans of Inner Holidays, skip ahead 10 seconds before I say what I'm about to say right now, which is, I was not a fan of that book at all. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but the day did not repeat enough. If you're going to tell me that you're going to do a Groundhog Day trope, please repeat the day ad nauseum like the film did. That's what drew me into the film. But if you're only going to repeat the day twice or 3 times, it's not enough. Well, thank you, Lindsay Kelk. I think the day repeated 10 times. It was so good. And by the end, the protagonist was annoyed and so over it and used to the day repeating, which is what I wanted. Where within the holidays, I didn't feel like that happened. I felt like the main character just went, repeat, okay, we're done. So it just annoyed me. But in this book, it was so good. Look, the book is narrated by an English woman, which I'm not used to. It's not to say that listening to an English narrator as opposed to an American one. I don't listen to Australian narrators, but I mean, I come from Australia, but I'm used to American narrators. But it's not to say that I don't necessarily like English narrators, because I don't have an issue with them. It's just this particular narrator took me a while to get used to. But once I got used to the way that her voice and vocal choices that she was choosing to implement, I really enjoyed the book. I thought it was really well done. If you are looking for the Groundhog Day trope in a book done well, and that is the big thing to point out, done well, this is the book you read. It repeats at least 10 times. So drop the Inner Holidays and pick up The Christmas Wish by Lindsay Kelk. I gave it 4.5 stars. Alright everyone, I don't know how I made it through before we got to the half-hour mark, but those are all the books that I read in the month of December 2022. This was definitely more of a discussional video than my usual quick, let's get through everything, so I hope that you still were able to enjoy it, and I hope that you guys are doing well and enjoying your 2023 year thus far. Let me know in the comments below if you've made it to this point of any of the books that you read this year, or what your favourite book is that you've read so far this year. I have so many videos left to come. I don't know, excuse me. I don't know what's going to happen with my next dental appointment, so for now I'm going to keep doing audio videos until that is fixed, as I explained in the last one. But in the meantime, I still want to bring out videos for you all. So at least this is a compromise and you get to see it. And some of you have already commented on the first one I did. Thank you, saying that you still enjoyed it. You were okay with it. You thought it was even better than you thought, or whatever. Everyone said different things. Thank you, thank you, thank you a million times. Thank you. If you all are happy with me doing this until my tooth situation is fixed up, I am more than happy to keep doing this. So at least you'll get content and I get to express my creativity. Alright, that is where we're going to leave it for the moment. So I hope that you are enjoying your week. Please remember, as I always say, to be kind. Because there is nothing more important in this world than these following things. To be kind to others. Give everyone a chance and be nice to the kind ones. But be kind. Love one another. Love, 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 love. Spread love. Please do. There is so much hatred in this world. Spread love. And also spread that sparkling energy of yours all throughout the world, okay? So be kind, love one another, and spread your sparkling energy all throughout the world. And until our next audio video, you know what I'm going to say? Say it with me. Happy reading!